The Biden administration has implemented new travel restrictions in response to the Omicron variant. Anyone traveling internationally to the United States, whether it be a foreign traveler or a United States citizen, needs to have a negative COVID test within 24 hours of the flight to the United States. This new testing timeframe will apply to everyone, regardless of nationality or vaccination status. The plan outlined by the White House website says documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 in the past 90 days is also accepted. There is still a requirement for foreign travelers arriving in the United States to be fully vaccinated. Now, before the new rule went into effect, all vaccinated travelers were required to test within 3 days of their departure. Now, Biden also announced that the federal mask mandate requiring travelers to wear masks in airports, on planes, and other modes of public transportation, such as trains and buses, has been extended through March 18th. Now, the Omicron variant, although we don't know enough about it yet, it's still being tested. We're still trying to figure out whether or not the current vaccines are still effective against it, has been spreading pretty rapidly. And there are already cases of this variant here in the United States. Now, even children as young as older than 2 years old will have to get tested if they're traveling to the US. So as long as the kid is 2 years old and older, he or she will have to get tested. Now, these travel restrictions, sure, make a lot of sense, but it's like putting a Band-Aid on a gushing wound. Because the real problem here is that we keep seeing the emergence of new variants. And the reason why we see the emergence of new variants is because poorer countries, developing countries still have not had the same access to the coronavirus vaccines that we've seen in richer countries like the United States or EU countries. So just to give you more details on that, Big Pharma does not want to waive the vaccine patents. They do not want to make it readily available to everyone, even though we need it to be readily available to everyone in order to finally effectively combat coronavirus. But Big Pharma is looking out for their profits. And so in the first week of the Omicron variant, which sparked global fears of a new wave of infections, a small handful of investors and executives with Pfizer and Moderna, currently the main makers of COVID-19 vaccines, saw over $10 billion in new wealth, with the Moderna's CEO alone adding over $800 million to his personal fortune. So that's why they refuse to waive the vaccine patent, by the way, with the help of EU countries, which is absolutely hideous and disgusting. And turns out, even with all those fears that people have in regard to the new variant, investors are like, cha-ching. Cha-ching. This means that the pandemic is going to be extended. This means that Pfizer and Moderna get to make more money. Based on data compiled by Global Justice Now, just 8 top Pfizer and Moderna shareholders added a combined $10.31 billion to their fortunes last week after stock prices soared in response to the emergence of the new variant.
So understand how this vicious cycle for the planet is a great virtuous cycle of profit for the drug companies. So they protect their profit margins by not giving a cheaper version to the rest of the world that they could afford. And so they're gonna have to pay through the nose, and they can't pay that much. And so not a lot of people are gonna get vaccinated in the rest of the world. Then more variants will break out, and they'll have to come up with new booster shots for the new variants, starting a whole nother cycle of profit for them. That is why the stock market rationally reacted the way that it did. Oh, their plan to get millions of people killed by denying them the vaccine and causing more variants worked. Now we're gonna need their vaccine even more. They're gonna be able to charge us more. So give them another $10 billion just for 8 shareholders, let alone everyone else. Now but we're fair. Some people were like, hey, that CEO of Moderna, Stephanie Bancel, cashed out some of her stock options.
Stefan Bancel,
sorry. Cashed out some of their stock options this week. Oh, did you see that? No. The cash out was of $3.19 million. So you might think, well, $3 million is a lot of money. No. They made $800 million that week. Is it a guy or a girl, by the way?
Guy, it's a guy.
It's a guy. So he made $800 million. So cashing out $3 million is just chump change. That's what he would find in his couch. In 1 week, by the way, he made $800 million in 1 week. And so overall, he now has $6,876,528,630 in just the stock that he owns, okay? So now, is he going to be able to spend that in his lifetime? No, there's no humanly way to spend that much money. But he thinks, oh, more people died all across the world. Yes, I got another $800 million. And now I will feel that my genitalia is slightly larger than Pfizer's or Johnson & Johnson's CEO. Okay, so I feel, oh, I have moved up in the Forbes 400 list. I am now number 127. I feel so good. How many millions died? Who cares? Who cares?
And
who cares?
Yeah, and look, Moderna has profited more. The vaccine has been a game changer more for Moderna compared to Pfizer, because Pfizer has had other big name drugs that have been incredibly lucrative for Pfizer. For Moderna, the coronavirus vaccine has been a complete game changer. And so as a result, they don't want to do away with or lift the vaccine patents, which would, of course, threaten their future profits, even though they've made a tremendous amount of profits already. And as Tim Burley from the Global Justice Now group says, pharmaceutical companies knew that grotesque levels of vaccine inequality would create prime conditions for new variants to emerge. They let COVID-19 spread unabated in low and middle income countries, and now the same pharma execs and shareholders are making a killing from a crisis they helped to create. It's utterly obscene, which is why pharmaceutical companies should be nationalized. This should be considered this is a public health issue. This shouldn't be something where profit motive is a huge part of the equation, and it has been from the very beginning. Real quick, Cenk, and I want to just share, on May 5th of this year, Joe Biden said that he is in favor of lifting the vaccine patents, right, to allow for developing countries to manufacture their own. Now, he said that he's in favor of doing it, but he hasn't really pushed for it. EU countries refuse to do it, right? EU countries do not believe that the vaccine patent should be lifted, and that's been a disaster. And since by the time we hit May 6th, so a day after Biden said that he endorses lifting the patents, we had, globally speaking, 3,408,814 COVID deaths worldwide. That number has now gone up to 5,254,624 deaths. Okay, so just to give you the difference there, since Biden has announced that we should lift the vaccine patents, 1,845,810 people worldwide have died from coronavirus.
So understand, Biden said we should lift the waivers, but they didn't. They didn't. So they denied the vaccine to the whole world. What Biden said was just marketing. He didn't mean a word of it. He never put any pressure on anyone to lift the waivers, etc., or to do the waiver. Okay, so guys, 1.8 million people died across the world so that our drug company executives could make more money.
That's right.
So now I actually don't agree with Anna that we should nationalize them. I think but what I do think is there's no question that they use government money and government scientists to help them develop those vaccines. Now, the government represents all of us, the taxpayers. Did we get those profits? No. It's so weird. And the only thing that explains it is bribery. So they say, now government, you should use your money and give it to me. And then when I develop a vaccine, I have no responsibility to you or to any other government or to any humanity at all. Okay, I'm gonna make the money and then I'm not gonna share it with the world and I'm gonna let millions of people die, okay? And then you don't get to say anything about it. Why? Because I gave more money to American politicians than any other industry, and that's a fact. So,
yeah.
So these drug companies use our money, use our resources, and then look, I don't begrudge them making profits, guys. I actually do believe in the profit motive, okay? But they've already made billions upon billions upon billions, and they actually, by the way, will make more billions if they sell it to the rest of the world. They just won't make as many billions if they sell it at the lower prices instead of the higher prices. And they're saying for the extra billions of dollars that they don't need at all and they already got massive profits. It was already an excellent thing for them that the government helped them to develop these vaccines, but they say no because of our rapacious greed. Because look, and these CEOs, by the way, they could have been worldwide heroes. They developed the vaccine, their companies developed the vaccine in conjunction with the US government and could have saved millions of lives. But they chose instead to be worldwide villains. Look, they're gonna look back at history and they're not gonna be able to believe that we allowed millions of people to die so that drug companies could make slightly larger profits.
No, I disagree. Not only will they believe it, I think things will continue to devolve. Because the profit motive reigns supreme in the United States, worldwide. That is the model. I think, look, when it comes to life-saving vaccines, when it comes to pharmaceutical drugs that people need to survive, there shouldn't be a profit motive, but there will continue to be. And as long as there is, we're gonna run into the same problem over and over and over again.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.